Technology and Service Management PCB webinars. My name is Vlera Shala, the PCB organizer of this webinar, and today's topic is exercising business continuity management system plan. This webinar will be presented by Ms. Barbro Thöyrä. Mr. Barbro is owner of CeBeLOT, and also she is business continuity management system consultant and trainer, and also she is a PCB certified trainer. Please write your questions and comments in the question box in the right hand control panel, or you may use the option to raise your hand, and Ms. Thöyrä will answer to them accordingly in the end of this webinar. Please, Mr. Thöyrä, you may start the presentation.
Thank you, Vlera. Hi, my name is Barbro, and I'm talking to you from Stockholm in Sweden. I tried to do this webinar from my experience so that you can take the tips, have some ideas for your work, not too theoretical. No. Okay, let's move on. This I already talked about. So, content of this webinar duration is 30 minutes, as Vlera said, and questions are asked. You can write them down, as Vlera said. So, the content of this webinar is why do we need to exercise? The types of exercises and how to perform an exercise. And most of the time is spent on how to perform an exercise. Why do we need to exercise? It should be very obvious. We need to ascertain that all escalation and notification procedures are working in the event of a disaster. To ascertain if response and recovery plans and procedures are okay and that they are up to date. Verify the information in the plan that it is current. Verify that the recovery strategies incorporated in the plan will provide a good level of support when a disaster strikes. And verify that the vital records are stored off-site and that they are up to date as well. And also the backup processing hardware is adequate to handle the recovery operations. That goes for IT. Of course, and then we need to verify that the voice telecommunication is working, because you need to communicate with the response and recovery teams. Verify that all personnel understand their roles and can execute their responsibilities. Also create awareness among all employers that the management of the company is very serious about the business continuity management system, and also to provide a learning environment for all employees, not just the team members in the plan, but all employees. And identify the deficiencies in the plan. That means you need to correct it if it's not okay. And also ensure that all critical and or time-sensitive processes can be recovered. Obtain a realistic benchmark of the recovery time. Can we do this within this recovery time objective that is decided from mainly from the BIA? And one of the key elements of the BCMS is that periodic use of partial or complete disaster drills it must be done once a year at least. And if you have not exercised the plan, you can't assume it will work when you need it. And the exercises are carefully evaluated and changed. Because after exercise you write down all the changes that need to be done, and then you have to implement them into the plan as well. And the types of exercises, they are unannounced. I have never been able to do that. Of course, that is a surprise exercise, and most of the companies don't like it. They like to be announced and organized exercises. And types of exercises: tabletop, that means that you are around table and going through the plan. Everyone looks into their roles in the plan and says yes or no, this is not correct, we have to change it, and so on. And then you can do a structured walkthrough, that you actually go through the plan. You go to the site, you take the backup from the offsite stories, you take them into the computer systems. It is like it was real recovery. And live production, with that I mean if you are implementing something new, a new plan, for instance, then you can exercise the plan with that plan. Simulation is maybe the most common. You simulate the scenario. This will happen, and then you execute the plan. And we will come back to simulation exercises later. And then you have the crisis management exercises, where you exercise just the crisis management. And we will not talk that much about crisis management exercises. And that is a thing for itself, so to speak. Other examples is, of course, initial office verification. That means that when the BCMS planning team, when they think they are ready with the plans, then you can do office verification of the plan. Everything is, most of the things are correct. And the second exercise could be a kind of mock disaster exercise, that you relocate the teams to recovery environment, and you relocate critical data and documentation, and at the end you verify recovery procedures. And the initial exercises should start small. Don't try to do the whole continuity plan. You can do it business by business. And they should be real and specific. You decide in forehand the scenario and what should be exercised. And you have detailed procedures. You should verify the vital records and call trees. And it should involve actual data, not fake data. They should be real. And then now to at the end, how to perform an exercise. There is always assumptions. You can't foresee the the disaster, what will be okay when the disaster actually happens. So you do some assumptions for each recovery strategy. in general is that vital records are stored off-site. And backup regime is functional. Transmission is operational. You can't start to do the transmission when the disaster strikes. You assume it's working. Recovery sites are pre-prepared. If you have a recovery site, you go somewhere else to recover. And the access to the site is permitted. You have an SLA with a service provider of the site. And that the voice communication possibilities are okay, because you need to communicate with the management, and the management need to communicate with their teams. And that you have all necessary recovery supplies available at the site, if the site is another building or if the site is the same building, doesn't matter. You need the recovery supplies. And that the recovery teams are trained in their tasks. When you do prepared exercise, you have an exercise organization with an exercise leader or leaders, one or two, exercise observers, and then of course exercise participants, the teams. Excuse me. And the tools for the exercise are, you need to do the exercise scripts and the checklist for the observer and the plan itself, of course, and then plan for a conference room outside the office area. And that is because you don't to disturb the teams with phone calls or somebody coming in and saying we need your help now and so on. So it's better to be outside the office area. And when you develop the exercise program, you need to set up the objectives of the exercise program. What are the objectives? What are we going to reach today? And review the types of exercises that you take the right one for this exercise. And you plan the exercising guidelines and scripts. And the schedule, of course, when will it take place and where and who should attend. And then you have a sequence checklist, the exercise sequence checklist, so that you know where you are and you know if you have to stop the exercise, you know where you stopped it. And appoint a plan exercise coordinator. It is good if the coordinator is it's an outsider. Document the exercise results, and then you have an exercise evaluation meeting with all the teams, the observer, the leader, all the teams. And then you audit the exercises, of course. The key disaster scenario, if you do a simulation, you need a disaster scenario. Provide perspective to the developers, crisis management and emergency management, or the BCMS teams. And the scenario should call for full implementation of the plan, not just part of it. It should be the whole plan. For that, if it's a section of the company or a process or whatever you choose to exercise. And designed on the following assumptions. There are, it is very crucial, and it occurs at the worst possible time, You have to think what is the worst possible time for a company, and then you take that time. And you lose all files, information, and equipment. And this may need to be changed from time to time as the organization or environmental or equipment changes. And this is just an example. Very quickly through it. At any time of the day or night, your business process were unusable by a major incident. When you come to the building, you find that the building is not accessible and all contents is unusable. Maybe the building is not there and nothing can go in and out from the building. No data, no telecommunication, no equipment, nothing. Only the data and the information that you have identified and stored off-site before the incident is available. And if your business is cyclical, for instance, New Year's evening is the worst time that you could experience a major incident, or another cycle if there is something special in the summer or in the winter, at the end of a month, at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, you take that time and you answer the questions. And this is an example of an exercise schedule. You see it's very detailed, and this is from real life actually. And this says how many persons are involved, what teams are involved, what processes or systems are exercised, and the groups, kind of groups, and the observer, and the exercise leader. You mix test and exercise. I try to call it exercise, because exercise is never a failure. A test is either a failure or a success. For instance, if you start your computer, either it's up and running, and that is a success. If it's not, that is a failure, and that is a test. Use a planning form to prepare written objectives, measurement criteria. What are you measuring the exercise against? Procedures and post-exercise results. There should be a one-to-one correlation between objectives, measurement criteria, and procedures, of course. You know where you are going, you know what you are up to, and what the procedures are. Information recorded on this form should detail the tasks to be performed as agreed by the business continuity manager or the business continuity coordinator. The exercise leader their task will be to do the scenarios for each exercise, ensuring that the exercise grids are okay and that the team members understand them. And the exercise leader must be capable of supporting all questions or misunderstanding during the exercise. And also try to keep the time, not to talk, just keep the time. If it says 15 minutes, then it must be, if a process takes 15 minutes, then it must be 15 minutes, not 50. And evaluate the exercise results, of course, and to use the measurement and the objectives to see if it reads the objectives. and prepare the exercise result and a report together with the exercise observer. Identification of improvements to BCM plan, that is very important from the exercise. If there are needs or improvement, then they should be identified and do the critique the exercise, correct the exercise errors, and re-exercise if you need to. Who should be the exercise leader? That person should be very knowledgeable about the BCMS plan, that specific plan. And that person must be familiar with the processes involved in escalation, notification, response, and recovery of cause. Understand the importance of exercise, appreciation of the BCM's concept, understand the importance of exercise for worst case, partial site damage or not in time disaster scenarios, whatever the scenario will be for that exercise. And the exercise leader guidelines could be like this, scope and objective, plan exercise guidelines, documenting the results of the exercise. This is just an example, a very, very small part of the guideline. But hopefully it is of some, gives you some ideas how it could look like. And if you have an observer, and you must have an observer, record availability if there are alternate team members, the team's acceptability to the exercise scenario. Are they with or not? Are they with accepting the scenario? Are they understanding the objectives of the exercise? And record all discrepancies of results among teams. Record time discrepancies against accepted time, the recovery time objectives. Record the team's ability to carry out this exercise. Record the much of recording, visibility of the exercise being performed, and record any valid arguments from team members for future exercise purposes. Very important. Record the team members' commitment to the business continuity management system, and record the members' team workability. How can they work together? How they work together during the exercise. An observer's checklist should be individual effectiveness, team, plan, exercise, how effective they are, and overall impression. And a checklist could look like this. Where you do the comments as the exercise goes forward. This is just a small part of our whole observer's checklist. And the scripts, there are the escalation and notification, response phase, recovery phase. It depends on which part you are exercising, the whole or just part of it. And this is just a part of a script. And you can see this is done step by step from the business continuity management plan. And I put some hints for the teams as well, in the step by step and some hints. This is not the 10th exercise. This is actually the second or third exercise. And then you need to do the report, introduction, basic information, the project scope, exercise, business, what did we exercise, which method did we use, and what results were achieved, and then conclusions. Exercise results in general. Every exercise is a success. You can learn something from every exercise. And this is just part of the result. For instance, clarification of team roles and the tools, reports and forms. Escalation notification was new to the audience, surprisingly. More exercises are needed, walkthrough with all BCMS members. Some necessary updates to the plan discovered. Participants were very engaged in the exercise. This is in general, and then together with the exercise team, with the teams, I don't go through everything because the time passes very fast. In general, the results achieved were according to expectation for a first-time exercise of this kind. It could have been better off if the participants had had the opportunity to study the plans in advance. Not everybody had the opportunity to study them. Presentations were given just in native language by the BCM working team, and that was the improvement. Because if they don't speak English, if English is not their native language, and you do the plan in English, as I do in English, then the team want to have them translated to their native language. And some of the business continuity coordinators participated, and that was an improvement of the exercise. And then they want to have another subscription from another operator, red line phone. All members impressed with their competence in their working area and the business processes. Yes, some. Recommendations from the exercise leader and observer and the team. Company should subscribe to an alternative way of voice communication. Company should also look at the transportation issues in order to find a proper solution. That goes for that country and that company. All team members assigned to the plan must read and understand the plan. That goes for every plan, of course, and every company. Conduct an additional exercise, a walkthrough, after the recovery strategies are implemented with all BCMS members. Assign a person not involved in the BCMS as an exercise observer, and that is highly recommended. And this is from ISO 22301. Should at least develop exercise and test scenarios with a clearly defined aims and objectives. Plan and conduct tests and exercises at regular intervals, at least once a year. Produce formalized post-exercise reports that contain outcomes, recommendations, and actions to implement improvements. And then another, and this is very, very heavy, just read it too. A business continuity procedures and arrangement cannot be considered reliable until exercised and unless their currency is maintained up to date. Exercising is essential to ensure that the strategies, policies, plans and procedures that have been put in place are adequate and meet the business continuity objectives. Exercising develops teamwork, competency, confidence and knowledgeable, and should include those who may be required to use the procedures. And that is actually what I was saying before, and this is from ISO 22313. Questions? I hope you got some ideas for your own situation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thöyrä, for this great presentation. And as we have some time left, we will go through some questions. The first one is, why do you call it business continuity management system exercises, as not all organizations would implement a full BCM management system?
Well, it is a part of the whole BCMS system, business continuity management system. You can, of course, exercise the whole system or part of it. And I think you start with a part of it. And you can do partly till you have done the whole thing, including crisis management exercise. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much. And the next question is, one of attendees has asked what means by abbreviation HWSW recovery sites. I think it's in slide 14. In slide 14 it's explained.
Oh, I'm lost. I need to go back to them.
Business continuity assumptions.
Ah. Oh. There we go.
Yes?
Hardware, software.
Okay, great. I think now it's very, very clear. And the last question is, how many times do you need to rehash this plan per year?
Update it? How many times do you need to update it?
Do you need to rehash, to repeat this plan per year?
It said once a year, but I also suggest if you have seasons like summer, winter, autumn, spring, you might do it every 7th month, so that in time you have exercised the plan during all the seasons. That is one way of doing it, or just once a year. Or you need also to exercise the plan if there are major changes. You see, if you have sold some of your companies, if you have buy some new companies, if you have exchanged all the management, if you have dropped all the teams, knowledgeable persons in the teams, the experts, and that kind of thing.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I said that was the last question, but now we have two new questions, and I'm gonna read the first one. What is the difference between exercising a DR plan?
Exercising?
DR plan. It's writing like this.
Disaster recovery plan.
Maybe yes. I don't know what this attendee wanted to. Yeah, this disaster recovery plan. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Disaster recovery. When you talk about disaster recovery,
Yeah.
It's connected to IT, and of course you can have IT is a part of business continuity management system. So VR is a part of business continuity management. So there is no difference, but of course IT systems are exercised in their way for the IT systems. And very often it is about the vital records and offsite storage and equipment or another site and so on. Okay.
Thank you very much. And another question is how to manage a great number of external stakeholders in the exercises. It is useful to plan for the worst case scenario then.
Well, outside stakeholders, it depends on what kind of it is. If it is a supplier for your company, you should ask the supplier if they have a disaster recovery plan or if they have a BCMS. And then maybe involve the suppliers and involve the major stakeholders. Could be a very good idea. So that you involve them in the exercise and they are part of some team. Or a team for themselves.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thöyrä. And the last question is, is the plan applicable to any enterprise information processing environment or it's specific? It's the plan applicable to any, yeah, as I said, it's just repeated. Is the plan applicable to any enterprise information processing environment or it is specific?
No, it's applicable to any kind of company, any kind of enterprise, official or private owned, or there is no restrictions, and there are no restrictions to the size of the company or the official. Well, you can use it at home for yourself if you want to, but yeah, I haven't seen any restrictions. It's the same procedure for the BCMS is the same for every kind of company.
Okay, thank you very much, dear Barbro. We don't have any other question. I want to thank again for this great presentation and highly informative, and also for answering the questions. I want to thank all the attendees as well for taking the time out of your busy schedules and join us. We hope you enjoyed this webinar, and you can watch this session recorded and view the presentation slides on our website www.pcb.com. In the end, I just want to inform you that next Monday we are hosting another webinar titled Centralized Operations, Risk Control and Compliance. Thank you very much and bye-bye.